Are we seeing a slow decay and, well, slowly also dwindling of the Abrahamic religions? I've been saying about this recently, and to put it straight, we humans have been living in this idea of authoritarianism for a very long time. Let's call it better tribalism. This tribalism functions on the very simple premise that authority is the truth. When you look at monarchy, the monarch came from God, so obviously they cannot be wrong. When you look at the Abrahamic religions, the representatives, came from God, right? But I'm not sure how an imam is invested or how the Judaic people select their people. But in Christianity, you do 6 years of the so-called theologic faculty, and then suddenly you're holier than the others. For the longest time, people have been believing silly things like this. But slowly and surely, people are moving away from authority. Because you have to understand, truth is the only authority, right? And it is the only authority that the cosmos functions. Gravity is a certain truth, right? And the flow of nature and the flow of energies in the cosmos are another truth. Everything that we don't know is a truth. We don't know it, but it is still a truth because the cosmos holds together and exists. The cosmos is a dance of elements, and everything simply hums and at the same time sings with that, right? The planets will always spin whether we blow ourselves up or not. The cosmos will still exist and expand whether we blow ourselves or whether we become more conscious. People are simply sick of embracing ideas that impose on them what to follow, right? People are simply moving away from a magic book telling you how to live your life. That stupid book shouldn't even be telling you how to live your damn life, because if you did not waste your time with all the people who pulled you down and became more aware of how your system functions, you wouldn't even need a damn book to tell you that you should respect a woman or you should respect a man, or first and foremost, you should respect yourself. Because when you become more conscious of the things within, then you know how to become more pleasant. When you become more pleasant, you will become more pleasant also for the people around you, right? When you become calmer in life and stop being that silly little rat in a race to reach nowhere, well, you will simply think things more clearly, right? A lot of people are suffering because of this, because they're doing so much damn work in their life and nothing good happens to them. Their God is simply like ignoring them, their government doesn't give a damn about them. It's like, well, when did the government actually care about you, right? And whatever pieces of information you learn, you practice even, whatever you're doing only seems to impact your life and that's it. Unless you're doing streaming or something that brings other people some joy or some other kind of value, the point is very simple. Life is all about you in the end. Now, I'm not saying this from a narcissistic standpoint because I can't be narcissistic, honestly. I'm a bit too empathic for that. And even if we live in a narcissistic society, well, this is only the result of ignorance. What is the problem with ignorance? Well, ignorance is nothing else than a war against yourself. And everything that is born or bred in ignorance becomes an engine of its propagation. Religions, unfortunately, were not fortunate enough, and they also became an engine of their propagation. When you look at so many people in the world, well, they're preaching you this, they're preaching you that, but they don't have any embracing for the life. They don't have any awareness of what life truly is. They might know a dictionary definition, but a dictionary definition only makes you a bit more intellectual, not more knowledgeable of the world and how it functions. A religion may tell you how to live your life, how to do this, how to do that. But if you are introspective enough, well, perhaps if you were, let's say, more interiorized, right, and you stopped giving all the attention to the monkey mind, right, that will constantly keep you tired and overactive. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Well, you're never going to know what's going to happen next. Some influential people will tell you, well, there's going to be a war there, there's going to be a war there, but that is some information. You don't know whether it is true, and the future hasn't happened yet, right? Whether you choose to live in the future or in the past, Well, that is only in your mind. You're doing that only in the present. Religions don't tell you that, most likely. And well, they're telling you love God, love your prophets, love your angels, love whatever. See, those people, I imagined once and even had a dream where Jesus and Muhammad stood together and said, look at these fuckers. We died so long fucking time ago, and these people are still wasting their life with us, right? Now, I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way, but you should understand religion was never meant to be taken so seriously, right? You see people nowadays going mad when someone else says something about Jesus. See, Jesus lived his life. He gave some truths. Whether you choose to live by those or not, it is up to you. But if you become a fanatic in the name of someone who lived back in the times, well, what's the difference in between you and Hitler? Most likely you will end up killing some people and causing a genocide here and there, right? So what would make a difference in between you and, well, let's not necessarily say Hitler, let's say any other, authoritative feature, right? Of this sick society that we live in. Whether you speak about communism, socialism, national socialism, fascism, all of them had their own paths, right? And their own leaders. Those were leaders who actually made it up, one way or another, right? Because in each generation there are such Hitlers and Stalins and the such. It's just that those people are so ignorant, they don't do anything about their life, so in a way they are saviors of the world because if they didn't get to power, their destructive potential through their ignorance simply did not affect humanity, right? I am telling you one thing, Jesus didn't come here to start a religion. He came and told you a few things. Muhammad, I doubt he ever wanted a religion for himself, because look at what happened to the whole world. A new religion was born, and what did it do? Slavery and, well, genocide. But is it the fault of Islam? Well, I would say, as a personal choice, because, well, that's what my wisdom guides me to say, that it's not Islam who necessarily did it. Because the people who became Muslims, well, they've been practicing slavery and genocides ever since before. Because those were the times. The medieval times were all about genocide, were all about conquest, and the ancient times were no different. When someone conquered the others, obviously they would impose their culture, and well, slavery was one way or another a thing of that society. So, Islam did not invent slavery. Whether it was in time overtaken by fanatics and ignorant people who turned it into a business for themselves, well, Christianity didn't become anything else. Judaism didn't become anything else. Yes, obviously there are still people who believe in the so-called right ways. But can you actually attribute something the right ways? Well, people can call something right because, well, something was written in a certain way, so if you follow it, it is right. If you don't, it is wrong. But, well, if you look at the Talmud, for example, well, I don't think that sounds anything else than, a genocidal aspect, a fully racist and genocidal aspect, right? When you look at Islam, it has its own points of view. When you look at Christianity, it also has its points of view. But ultimately, none of these religions ended up being less genocidal. When you look at Christianity, maybe an exception can be taken when we talk about Orthodoxy, because in a way it seemed to be the smallest and, well, let's say, least strong in a way, but least representative in the world as well. Now, obviously, you speak about the Russian Orthodoxy, and Russia had its times of aggression and expansion, but we can also look at the Greek Orthodoxy, which is representative of Greece and also Romania. Let's not also forget some of the other countries like Serbia and the such, which are in tune, I think, still with Greek Orthodoxy. Like Romania and Greece, I know they are with the Greek Orthodoxy. The others, I think they're also, like, the ex-Yugoslavian countries, Bulgaria and the such. I'm not sure about them though. But when you look at Greek Orthodoxy, it's been there in its little environment doing its own thing. Now, people are slowly moving away from religions because they are kind of tired of someone else telling them how to live their damn life. Your parents have been telling you how to live your silly life because, well, they've been raised in an environment that wasn't too kind with humans. So they thought whatever comes, this is the way. And schools will teach you something different. And society will give you all sorts of opinions. But in the end, when you go to bed one night and you don't have anything to do, just look at the ceiling and imagine that it is a vastness of stars and that you're slowly flying through those. Whatever you're seeing is just stars. They're so freaking far away from you. They all have their own solar system, most likely. They all have their own story. We're also obsessed with looking outside, but then ask yourself a damn question. How about you actually start looking inside and you will see you have your own shine? If you're capable enough to see, well, what some people call as auras, you can see it in the dark. You can see it against a white wall. If you focus enough with your fingers or the such, you should see a soft glow around those. Typically when you blink, or it can vanish when you blink. I'm not forcing you to do that because I did force myself to see that, and well, I proved myself that it actually exists. Science can prove you that there is a field around you because our heart generates one of the stronger fields of this planet, right? Of the beings on this planet, not of this planet. We can't compare ourselves to the planet herself. Now, we also have a field around our brain. We have a field actually around each and every organ, but the heart is said to have the strongest of our fields. Now, when people become more and more perceptive of how the world functions, it is easier for them to simply observe things and slowly and surely realize that they never required an idea of authority to rule them. Back in the older times, your chieftain would decide things, your government, your monarch, they would decide typically the things. They would have helpers around more or less, but they would be the one taking the decision because they came from God and obviously they are infallible, right? Authority is the truth. Nowadays, a lot of the people will simply swap to the idea that the truth is authority. There will be still struggles because some people will be stuck in the idea that the only possible truth is their own religion. Well, there's been a wise quote a long time ago that said, well, God is the embodiment of all the things that humans cannot accomplish or who cannot allow themselves, right, to accomplish. True from a certain standpoint, but I always saw God as a very primitive way of seeing the hundreds of thousands of forces that helped create this cosmos as is. We can call it one single entity or not. Obviously, religions are true in one point of view. There is something greater beyond us. That is the only important thing one should know about religion. It should always be nothing more than a reminder of the fact that creation is beyond us. It is much broader than us. So ultimately, everything else is just a historic account of people who simply served that viewpoint. They died for it, they worshipped it, they built temples and the such. But unfortunately, with misery, people became more and more entranced in the fear of their faith disappearing, right? And when you fear that your faith disappears, when you're also miserable, slowly and surely you're going to tend to the others because the grass can be greener there. That's why you're seeing so many Christians go to Islam and, well, so many Islamists coming to Christianity or, well, any other religions. Because they will think belief is much better with the other religion. They will swap from one religion to another. Some will come back to it because, well, I said it in a previous video, you are not going to be easily capable of giving up your religion because you have ancestral roots to it, right? Some people will simply give them up because they will go from one religion to another. I've seen a vlog poster saying that they spent 1 month of their life learning everything they could about Christianity, then they swapped to Islam and learned anything they could about it, and then about Judaism. And I thought, look, that's something someone's doing. Obviously, a lot more people are doing that. Sooner or later, they will draw a line and they will say, I want to be the one to decide my whole life. Many of the generations now will still cling to their pesky little religions. I would say you can go and burn your freaking books, they're not gonna change your life. Nobody's gonna come to save you but you. You can spend all your lifetime hoping that Jesus will come back. Even if he comes back, so you're a slave of this corporatist system. You're not going to be allowed to see them anyways, because you've got bank loans, you've got car loans, you've got student loans. You're going to have to work your ass for this, corporatist system, in this crappy economical system where you are simply a slave of debt. It is perfectly made to keep you in debt, right? It doesn't matter what religion you follow, you're still a slave of this sick society. Unless humans start doing changes with this, nothing good is gonna come out of anything else. Your governments have been betraying you, they've never been caring about you, and if you still think that your Jesus is gonna save you, good, keep thinking about it, because nothing will change in your life and you will keep suffering until you break and you realize that you have to do something about your life. And hopefully you have enough time to do it, and hopefully you will find the resources to do it, because this is the year of the greatest whistleblowers. There will be so much information coming to people about aliens, about the cosmos, about all the fuckers that have been genociding us, and people will start slowly and surely fading in terms of beliefs to the old stars of the system and Hollywood, and people will start realizing, hey, we are the actual stars. I once said it when I was young, I'm the best actor on the scene of my life, right? Because this is what you are, the best actor on the scene of your life. You're inviting other people, or they come into your life. Seemingly as they come, they will leave, right? They may leave. Some may perish, unfortunately. Some may create great friendships. Some will simply leave because, well, this is how the flow of life becomes. And it's always been like that. When you attach yourself to something, you will fight for it stupidly. People are simply getting tired of fighting for something that doesn't give anything in return. Your socialism will give you something, but it's not going to give you happiness. It's not going to give you utter freedom, because you will find it in the power and strength of your emotions, your energies, and your understanding of how life functions. And once you realize that, you will realize that there is no other authority than the truth. And a religion is only partly a truth, because they are truthful to the fact that there is something beyond us. We haven't created this world, obviously, and there is something much stronger than us, much bigger than us. This is the only truth that you need to find out. Other parts of it, well, they are just human inventions, and how some people thought they would create a better world. And then other fuckers came who were unfortunately way more ignorant than that, and misinterpreted things and made a mess out of each of the religions. And look what happened into the world. This is the result of the ignorance of our forefathers. And we have a choice as a generation. Do we follow into that, or do we make a better world? Maybe not for us, because we have lived most of our lives, or a part of those. But at least for our children, because if we don't do it, they will. There will come a time when our children will say, Mom, Dad, or parent one, parent two, whatever way they will tell it, go fuck yourselves. We want to build a world for our own. We have so many talented children who want to do something in the world, but they can't because silly, stupid adults won't allow them. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care, enjoy life. And this being said, Ferenc Jan Bohr signing out.